I'm relatively a survivor guy. I'm relatively a big brother guy. Like, I can be a nerd for both of those things, but when it comes to the Amazing Race, I'm kind of a newbie. Well, not even kind of. I'm just definitely a newbie. Like, I've seen some episodes and I know how some of them end, but I don't know anything about. I like if you gave me a trivia question or anything like that, I wouldn't know anything about Amazing Race. So I figured, yeah, let's watch some. I'm gonna start off with the latest season, I believe. I actually don't know. I don't keep track, but this is the season 34. So let's see what happens. Okay, so this is the first episode, and so far I immediately recognize Derek and Claire. I know Big Brother people a little bit more. Derek's kind of popping up all over the place. Claire, not as much. Actually, I don't know if Claire was on the challenge or not. Anyway, so it's good to see them there. Hopefully they do okay. I just saw about the twins on this season, and I'm not really sure if I agree with one of them when they say that this is the best way to make makeup time. Like, have they seen this show? I know enough to know that this show like makes you a different person entirely. This show is hell. You're running around the entire world and you have to beat people. That's stressful as hell. I would not want to talk to my long lost sibling that way. So I mean, I kind of have to root for them now because I can only see bad things ahead for their future. And apparently now there's no like second wins or anything like that. Now, if you just move last, you're last, period. It sounded like an interesting season already right off the bat. I don't even know this show, but I mean, it sounds like it's cutthroat. It's going to be cutthroat. So I imagine there's going to be a lot of yelling, which I'm not necessarily the biggest fan of yelling, unless it's funny. Like ugly yelling, I don't care. It's funny watching those two girls like let every single person pass them as they get directions. I really hope it was good directions, because if it's not, I've never seen a bigger flame out in any kind of show ever. Also, something you may need to know about me is I absolutely am garbage with names. Like, I'm looking at these names now and I'm probably not gonna remember them within the next 20 seconds or so. But I'll get it. I'll get the hang of it as time goes on. Probably. Well, of course, freaking Derek and Claire won the keg rolling challenge. I mean, they're on Big Brother. They make you do stupid things all the time, ever. Like, who else? Who else would know to like roll a keg like that through an obstacle course? Of course, Derek paired through it. This is already cheating. I'm calling bullshit. I am noticing that for this show, it's hard to like talk about multiple things and like get real deep into like the depth of strategy because it revolves around like world traveling and stuff like that, which I know nothing about. It's not like Survivor where it's like social play or something like that. So it is going to be difficult for me to like constantly bring up stuff that I notice, other than for maybe like a really crappy joke. That being said, I do want to know that so far I like all of the cast. Like everyone's really hyped, everyone's enjoying themselves, and so far I don't really find people that I already hate. I'm not really seeing too much cutthroat gameplay, but there isn't really seem like many opportunities. Honestly, I'm waiting for a Team Guido or something like that, because I remember watching all of season 1. So Derek and Claire are the first ones to finish. They got like a cash prize and stuff like that. You know, I was kind of joking around before, but I feel like them being on like the challenge and like Big Brother has actually kind of prepared them in a way for something like this. So I don't know if it actually is an unfair advantage, but who cares? I mean, I'm happy to see them. So I think I found a new favorite team, and it's Asta and Nina. They are just a comedy of errors. It's so unfortunate to watch. I want to see them do better. I want to see this underdog win. I always enjoy something like that. I hope they pick it up. I hope they make it to the end. It'll be kind of heartbreaking. Like, the teams I don't want to see lose right now are Asta and Nina and the twins. I still don't know the twins' name, unfortunately. But if I see one of them lose, I'm already going to be heartbroken. Of course, it's Asta and Nina. I wonder if they get, like, beer. Because, like, they're over in Germany for Oktoberfest. Hopefully they get a beer. But, like, ugh, that's annoying. Teams that I'm rooting for so far are Emily and Molly. Those are the twins. I know their name now. Derek and Claire, just because I know them from Big Brother and from the challenge. Other than that, there aren't really, like, many other teams that I know about. The preview shows, like, some kind of, like, freaking out and some arguing. We'll see how that goes. All right, episode 2 of Amazing Race 43. New twist, I guess, from what it sounded like. This time people are going to be departing in groups. Still kind of in order, but not really. From what I recall, I've only really watched the first season or so. But what I remember is that they left still like relatively in the lead. Like if first place got there, they would have to do like a 12-hour or 24-hour wait period. And then they would go, and then everyone else would go accordingly. So like if there's like a time difference of like 2 hours, then first place goes, and then 2 hours later, second place goes. Um, I guess they're doing this to like make the comeback possible. You know, like last place could overtake first place way more easier now, theoretically speaking, which I guess is why they did it. Um, since I'm not competing on the Amazing Race, I like this change, but I can imagine why some people would be pissed off. If it turns out that one of my favorite teams loses because of that, then I'm going to hate it. But if my favorite teams wins because of that, then I guess I'm okay with it. Okay, so first sort of pseudo alliance that I've seen so far is between what they call Team T-Rex, which is Tim and Rex, and then Team what I call M&M, which is Marcus and Michael. This is going to be a chore just trying to remember names. It'll be easier once the season's done. I think I did find a new team actually, and it's Quentin and Maddie, I believe their names are. Just their reaction when they figured out, oh, we're looking for a place in Munich. We're actually going to Austria. The fact that they kind of laughed it off. That's funny to me. I like that attitude. I hope they do well. Derek's such a dick to Claire. I mean, I haven't been diagnosed with tone deaf. I'll diagnose you. You're definitely tone deaf. Jesus Christ. Hey, no worries, Claire. I'm tone deaf too, so I mean, you're not alone. I wouldn't want to sing. Hell no. Between the two choices of these roadblocks, if I had to choose between dancing or like ringing on like a beat, just doing the song correctly, ringing those bells, I'd probably choose the bells because I mean, I have no physical control over my own freaking body, so I mean, I'm not gonna try and dance with it. Are you serious? I'm actually kind of surprised that more people didn't pick the bells. I was shocked how many people went for the dance. You know what I mean? I'm really rooting for Emily and Molly, just because like I still don't. This is not the best place to like learn about each other. You learn about everything. It's like what Sean Yu said, you know, all about that volcano and crap like that. You know, that crap that was said in Firefly. You know, you don't want to meet the person like this. Like, you don't want to like have them yelling at you or something like that. Good Lord. I hope they win. I hope everything stays good. I hope they win. I can't help. They're my favorite. They're one of my favorites. Oh, oh my God, the hat. Oh no. Oh no, that was hard to watch. It only lasted like 30 seconds and it was hard to watch. Oh Lord. Oh God. Like to see her defeat on her poor face. Oh God. And just finished the last of it. We say au revoir to Team Football, Team T-Rex, whatever the hell they are. Shame. I would have been more upset if like the team with the girl who lost the hat went out. Like if they went out like that, like you can even see it like in the episode. She's not even smiling when she realized she made it back in time. She's still like kind of like shook. You know what I mean? It would have been hard to like just watch it go down like that. Jesus Christ. That being said, I'm happy like team with the girl with the rainbow hair is still in the race. And the Rams cheerleaders. I think they're pretty good too. Hell of a comeback. Hell of a comeback from them. Derek and Claire still off in freaking the top tier. Twins did okay. Most of my favorite teams so far are still in the race. So I'm looking forward to episode 3. I remember hearing from one of the Survivor YouTubers, I don't know if it was like Once Upon an Island or Peridium, but they talked about how knowing how to drive a stick shift is essential when you're on the Amazing Race. Sort of like how you need to like know how to build fire on Survivor. So if that is the case and stick shift driving is essential, it's shocking to me that there are still 4 people plus people who don't know how to do it. Like, is stick shift driving that hard even if you do learn how to do it? Question from me to you. It does hurt to see the newlyweds starting off on a terrible foot while everyone else catches up. It's pretty much the same way I felt about how the last team, the team with the rainbow-haired girl, like the face that she made when she realized she left the hat at the car. It was kind of hard to watch. This is sort of similar, but not really. Not yet, anyways. We'll see if they make it there. So I guess between the two challenges of either do the physical work of carrying the cheese or trying to remember an entire lecture without taking notes is supposed to be a trap, because I mean, everyone here has been a student at one point or another, for the most part, unless you've never went to school. Yeah, I thought that was kind of obvious not to like go to this class unless you're gonna like actively take notes to everything that's being said. those are typically some of the more difficult courses on any school ever, just because it relies on memory, and it's one of our most fragile things, as everyone likes to say. So it's like, yeah, I know that the bones in the hand are phalanges, or no? No, see, I already got that wrong. Because like, yeah, I think phalanges are just like the fingers itself, but I don't know any bones in the hands or anything like that. Either way, like I wouldn't have taken that. I wouldn't have taken the class. I don't have a good memory. I don't think most people do, anyways. You know, it's. I think her name is Dom. That's what the episode called her, but it's the rainbow-haired girl. Yeah, the rainbow-haired girl. As I'm watching, I can see the race really affecting her like mental psyche. Like, it's funny because she came in here being like one of the most positive people out of the entire cast, and there were a lot of positive people. But as 3 episodes in, and she looks like she's about to like break down a little bit sometimes. I kind of have to make them one of my favorite teams at this point, because it's like I don't want to see them fail like that and just be crushed. I've seen them almost be crushed before, and it wasn't a fun experience. And now they're in like last place at this race, not last place, but they're getting there. Freaking Claire is hilarious. It's not fair, you know. Derek needs to do the next roadblock. I don't care what it is. He needs to do it, because it's just not fair at this point. Claire's had too many like misfortunes on stuff that other people would find obvious. You know what I mean? So Derek needs to do the next one, or I'm just gonna be annoyed. That was a pretty badass moment by Dom over there near the end of the episode. How she's just doing like the inner peace pose and stuff like that, sending him energy. I like that. I like the team. I like her. It's weird though. I want to see her do well. At the same time, I also don't want to watch, because like I don't want to see her like get mentally destroyed by the race. I'm rooting for them. I'm rooting for them. Also, really badass by both Emily and Molly. Just the fact that they came in slow, and despite the driving troubles, they rocked both of the stops that I saw in this mega leg. Good on Marcus and Michael for just overall dominating. So that was the end of episode, what the hell am I on? 3. We'll see how episode 4 goes. Hope my team still keep doing well. We are at the start of episode 4, and I gotta be honest, the one thing I just look forward to seeing is seeing Derek do a roadblock and having Claire get annoyed by him. That's the one thing I'm looking forward to, that I hope happens in this episode. Damn it. 20 minutes later in the episode, Derek did not struggle at all. Like, I'm sure he did, but they didn't highlight it. Like, they highlighted Claire's. I was so freaking annoyed. As for the rest of the episode, these challenges just seem to be like something that kind of like trips people up, and almost tripped up Rich and Dom. But these are very trollish challenges. Like, they make people think, oh yeah, you got to carve out that statue, but really you just got to uncover that statue. Or one of those things, man. It's like it's mind games from the freaking producers and whatnot. You know what I mean? I would not last a day when it came to racing like this. More examples of like the challenges trolling you is like, yeah, you were supposed to like memorize the background as well, instead of like all the details of the people that were like wearing the outfits and stuff like that. But no one knew that at the time. I don't know if it like mentions it in the clue for that challenge, like it did with the other one, where it specifically said chisel out. But yeah, these are challenges that are designed to like for people to just easily make a mistake on. So like, first time I finally see like an alliance of some type in this game, it was between the Rams cheerleaders and I think they're husband and wife at this point. I don't remember names. Good on them. They're about midway through, so it's not like they're competing for first, but they're definitely competing for not last. And when you're in the middle of the pack, yeah, it makes sense to team up. I'm surprised it hasn't happened more often, but I guess now with this setting, it makes a little more sense. Also happy Emily and Molly got first, getting the Australia trip. That's cool. Eminem in second place, which I'm happy for as well. The two teams that are not getting the best edit right now are Rich and Dom, and the father and the daughter. I mean, this was one thing I was worried about, is that like, the game's just going to mentally stress her out and it's going to break her down. And I don't want to watch that. And the same thing can be said about the daughter. Like, I don't want to see her breakdown either, but like the fact that she's like openly stating, despite the fact that she's not even in last place, she's like mid at this point, that she's saying she wants to go home, she wants to quit. I mean, it's like, damn. Something I'm noticing now that I'm watching this and like comparing it to season 1 is that there are a bunch of little things in season 1 that they showed off that It hasn't really happened here. Because like I remember in season one of the people would give away like their phone and stuff like that to trade for cash to get like more money. Because cash was a very important thing. Another thing was I don't remember, but it was like the second place couple in the first season. They like traded out the bags that they were carrying for lighter bags so they can run faster. Other players would try to like stall the other players out by like getting in their way and causing like an uproar of a crowd. That's what Team Guido did. Like there's a bunch of small little things that I'm not really seeing here. This season seems more, despite the fact that there's many different twists so far, it's more of like just a streamlined, just competition, but not really so much like a social competition as much as it was in the first season. And I don't know if that's died out as time went on. There's like 34 seasons. I don't know how much of the Amazing Race I'll actually go back and watch. But I see the differences if anyone else is like wondering about that. Also, I'm incredibly annoyed the fact that Derek like just rocked the freaking metal detector challenge. Damn it. I want to see him with egg on his face. After all the times that happened to Claire, Derek on the shade with Claire again. It's smarter than it sounds. It's like every job. Derek's pissing me off. So the end of the episode happened. The father and the daughter here were the ones eliminated. My teams are still in good contention as far as I know. The guys from the military, I think Marcus and Michael is their names. They're third. Derek and Claire, I suppose, are in second. Still kind of annoyed by Derek, but whatever. It also kind of sucks though that two of them, Derek and Claire and Emily and Molly, are like continuing the race with leg injuries. That being said, Molly seems like the more serious one. I don't know how far they'll make it into a race. Almost half of it's like a foot race. Hopefully they continue to go far. Hopefully they win. I don't know, it seemed like the whole dilemma for this episode was like between doing physical labor or figuring out a puzzle. And I suck at slide puzzles, so despite the fact that it does waste a whole lot of time, I probably still would have chosen the puzzle. I would have wasted the same amount of time, just if anything more time on like a slide puzzle. Everyone quotes like the slide puzzle in Resident Evil 4 is like the easiest puzzle ever, but I literally had to go and Google the answer. Like that's how bad I am at slide puzzles. Like to me, that's not an easy puzzle at all. So I just watched the trailer for the next episode. Apparently, I guess someone's gonna get taken out of the game because of COVID. I don't think that they should have revealed that in the trailer. So yeah, I want to see what happens episode 6 now. Can't help it. All right, season 6 just dropped on Paramount Plus. I'm happy that the COVID positive test was addressed early on and it wasn't just something that was like brought up in the middle of the episode. My biggest fear was that the episode was spoiled, but it turns out it wasn't. It was just brought up right from the beginning. I really don't have a problem with Abby and Will. That being said, I'm happy that it's just not one of my teams, like one of my favorite teams that I'm going for. Comparing this to the only other season I watched, the first season, I imagine you're getting sick of hearing that, but there were like clear people to root for and clear people to root against sometimes. Here is not really that. Like I picked teams I liked just because of stories that I liked. And I didn't really have like a great connection story with Abby or Will. Wish them the best. Hopefully COVID isn't planning to like do anything serious to them or anything like that. I'm a little confused as to why this twist happened after the positive COVID test, because I mean, honestly, what I'm seeing with this new season of The Amazing Race is something similar to like Big Brother, because like when it comes to Big Brother, they don't really care how good you're doing in the game. They'll introduce whatever twist they feel like doing, whether it ruins your game or not. That's kind of what's happening with this one, with this season of The Amazing Race. It doesn't really matter if you made first or second, because you're always going to be starting with other people, even if it is a limited number. And then they introduce this twist where it's like, it's not on you to make up that big difference of space like it was in the past. Again, it makes it more exciting to watch if your team's like down in the bottom, but I imagine running that race, I would be annoyed with that one twist just based off any experience I've had in the past. Something I'm noticing in this episode is that there's a lot more working together now. I guess it took like a team getting ejected by COVID for it to finally happen, but the way the teams start off, I expected to see more of it than what I'm seeing now. Like we're only 6 episodes in, so I've only seen like twice in 2 episodes. So it is the smart thing to do, is to finally like work together, because at the end of the day, you don't want to be in like that bottom group. You know what I mean? I'm not surprised most people pick dancing. Like, it sucks that Emily and Molly have to choose the memory one, because memory is always going to be hard no matter what you're doing. Not that I would be any good at dance, but I probably would have picked the dance one over the memory one, because my memory's crap. I mean, you heard me say multiple times that I don't remember anything that happened. I have a hard time remembering people's names. You know what I'm saying? It turns out Derek and Claire did go back to the word one ever. I'm happy to see Derek finally struggle at something. He can't roll his R's. Thank you, God. Now he gets to be the fool for once. It was also a good, funny point done by the husband, because they thought they were going to get a heads up when it came to the easier one, in my opinion, which is the dancing one, and then they end up against 3 other professional dancers. It's getting to the point now where there's so little teams, and I'm starting to like at least recognize faces and stuff like that. And it's not necessarily that I'm rooting against anyone, but those 4 teams that I named are the ones I do hope win in the long run. If I had to pick a favorite right off the bat, it would be Emily and Molly, just because of their story. But I mean, at this point, it's not like there's a team I outwardly hate. You know, there's no clear villain to vote for or anything like that. I'm enjoying the season. I'm having fun with it. About to start episode 7 of The Amazing Race 34. Find myself in an interesting position, because with The Amazing Race, I don't really know how much else I could talk about. Like, when it comes to Star Wars or Survivor or any other stuff for that matter, I could go on and on, because I'm just like a fan of the lore. I'm a fan of the series, a fan of all of it. I'm still new to The Amazing Race. I've only had that 1 season, and that's it. In terms of strategy, I don't agree with Derek's decision of like telling everyone to follow him, because he is right. Like, he can get them lost with him. But if he does know where he's going and they didn't, that could just be precious time that he helped them save. And an alliance only really benefits you if you don't really know where you're going. You know, if you and like another team doesn't know where they're going and then you just work together like that, that's a beneficial alliance. But in this case, they very well could just help them, and then who knows, they get stuck in another challenge where everyone else is rocking it and then they're just stuck there. And that's how you screw yourself over. Because a lot of times, just in this show, I've seen that people just get stuck on one thing and then suddenly they went from like first all the way down to 12th or something like that. So we'll see if Derek's strategy pays off. This is an elimination leg this time. So the episode's over. Didn't have much to say about this one. It's at the point now where I'm just enjoying a good game show. You know what I'm saying? 4 of my teams are still in the race. There's 6 teams in total, so one of my favorite teams is probably going to win. A lot of people shined in this episode. The one married couple, the first person to enter that rope climbing pit stop, very smart strategy. The military brothers using a map effectively, coming in first. And Derek and Claire showing off their big brother skills, doing ridiculous games. And Emily and Molly generally solid all around. It sucks that the Rams cheerleaders are in 5th place, close to being eliminated, but I mean, if the purple team, or whatever they're called, I don't remember their names, but if they fight like they did at the end of this last episode, I'm pretty sure the Rams cheerleaders will still be okay in the long run. We'll see. The way the episode started, it seemed like they were going to let them choose where they wanted to stay, but they were going to make a destination just at a certain location, and whoever was closest to it had the advantage, which I thought is what they were going to do for a split second. And then like the episode just started off like normal. I mean, they're already like throwing out stretches that kind of like make things sort of fair for like the teams in last place, as opposed to letting them run as the way they did traditionally, like from season 1. Like if they showed up 10 hours late, they started 10 hours late. I thought they were going to do something like that right here, but I was wrong. Comment on this rugby road stop here. I feel like there's something in the editing that we're not seeing, because to me it looks really easy. Like, this robot is basically just a drill, which, I mean, if you ever went to school, you probably did like a drill for any kind of random sport when you were like in kindergarten or something like that. Well, not kindergarten, but like 3rd grade PE or something. You know what I mean? feel like there's something I'm not seeing because it looks really easy. And it's just really like the athletically uncoordinated they can't do it like that. Like, is the run longer than I'm expecting? Is like the big thing that they're supposed to tackle heavier than it looks? Is the football harder to kick? Which it's not a football, it's a rugby ball, but it looks easy. So between the two detours that this leg showed, I would have chosen just building up the maze and like sweeping up the sand and whatnot, because I may not be a linguistic or anything like that, but I know enough to know that French isn't necessarily an easy language. It's funny because the one girl mentioned they have a good accent because they speak both English and Spanish. I think those are literally the easiest languages you could possibly learn. But when it comes to French, that's different, very different. Oh, damn it. Sad to see the cheerleaders go. If it makes any consolation, I'll be rooting for the Rams to win the Super Bowl. I don't even know who's on the Rams, whatever. As it stands, 3 of my favorite teams are still in the race. Odds of one of them winning is pretty high. I think their name is David and Aubrey, who came in last, but not like last. I don't view them really winning, so it'd definitely be a comeback if they won. I wouldn't expect it. As for the couple that got first place this leg, they very well could win. You know, as far as I'm concerned, they're pretty much the front runners because my favorite teams most of the time have. Actually, no, they didn't come in first. Derek and Claire came in first. The couple came in second. That's the one I meant. They're kind of sleepers because they're getting better and better as like the race goes on. So that was it for this episode. I'm sad the Rams are gone, but Emily and Molly, the military brothers, and Derek and Claire are still in the race. I'm hoping one of them wins. I'm going to go ahead and just try and make a winner's prediction right now. I think there's only like 4 teams left, which is Emily, Molly, the military bros. Oh no, there's 5 teams left. I do genuinely think it is going to be Derek and Claire. My second pick would be the military bros. I picked them because out of all of them so far, those 2 teams are the ones that have had the most random set of skills, especially Derek and Claire. Like, they just know French, which got them the first place in the last leg. So I think those are probably going to be the 2 front-running teams. And just to clarify, those are the teams I think are going to win, not the teams I do want to win. That being said, I mean, I do want them to win. I've picked 4 favorites and there are 3 left. But I do genuinely think they're the ones that have the best chances of winning as opposed to like the other 3. I'll also make another prediction. As badly as I want Emily and Molly to be the winners of this season, I don't think they're going to make it just because of that injured knee and that injured, I don't even know what the hell she injured. Like thigh or some part of her hip. Just because of that, I don't think she'll make it. If she does, it'd be a miracle. Okay, episode 9 is done. Turns out this was a mega leg. So we'll see what happens in episode 10. I still really stand by what they said. At the end of the day, I don't think Molly and Emily are going to survive past this mega leg just because of that leg. I do think the brothers are good at like making stuff up despite the fact that they're currently in last place. I do think they can make that distance up just by their navigation skills because I've seen the other 2 teams, hell, the other 3 teams, and there have been multiple times where they've kind of fallen apart. Not really so much with Derek and Claire though, which is why I think they're also like another team that could probably make it. I don't know about Derek helping out the other team. He's hoping that they'll help him out when it comes down to it, but it's for $1 million. So at the end of the day, I think he should have just not said anything. We'll see how that ends up for him. That's twice now where he's kind of helped other teams out. The first time I could kind of understand, but not really this time. It's a little too near the end for things like that to happen. We'll see. Okay, we're continuing the mega leg for episode 10. It's funny to see because like the 3 teams left that I predicted are probably the front runners. 2 of them are in the back. However, the one I thought was going to win, Derek and Claire, they're still, well, yeah, they're still kind of like, they're in the middle. So it's not like they're a huge shot of losing. And my 2 favorites, which is the military bros and the long lost twins, those are the ones that are possibly at threat of getting limited. So hopefully something turns around for them in the end. Sleeper team is definitely Louis and Michelle, or Luis and Michelle, however you pronounce the name. I wasn't really paying attention. But yeah, I mean, I felt like that ever since episode 7, I want to say, but I didn't think they'd actually win. I figured it was just kind of like some luck that was going their way. But yeah, they're building momentum and it's not stopping. And so I remember last episode that I criticized Derek for helping them out when it was like only 5 teams left. Turns out it was a good move by Derek because they actually weren't, they were actually nice people. So good on Derek. It was a great move. I wasn't expecting that. That late into the race, I wasn't expecting that at all. They helped them, so now they're just going to continue to stay in front of my two other favorite teams. So on the one hand, I'm happy that Emily and Molly are still in the race. On the other hand, I'm sad that Marcus and Michael are out of the race. Team M&M, as I used to call them. And on the other hand, the third hand, I'm kind of bummed that both Derek and Claire and Emily and Molly are going to be starting the second to last leg in like that bottom group. So hopefully one of them can turn it around. I had solid predictions beforehand, but seeing the other two teams compete that are left, Lewis and Michelle and David and Aubrey, I don't know. So it's fitting to be an exciting season, an exciting finale. I'm bummed that the military bros are gone. It was just that one crucial mistake, and that drives me nuts. The day Emily and Molly get eliminated, or if they don't win, I'm just going to be so upset. There's a team I want to win, but the team I picked to win was Derek and Claire. I think they can pull it out. You know. I got cough drops. Because I have strep throat. I'm kidding. After watching the majority of this season, I could see it's just really transformed into new. Not really so much a different game show. It's still the same basic premise, but I feel like just from remembering episode 1, there's a lot of stuff that's changed. Yeah, in essence, it's still the same game, but there's a lot more things you could take advantage of sometimes. And there's a lot more things that hampered you down as well. Because I remember teams starting like a day later than the first team starting, as opposed to only 15 minutes before. And definitely a cultural shock when I really look at it, because I've only really watched season 1 and that was it. I started a bit of season 3, but that was only like the first episode or so. If it turns out that Emily and Molly are eliminated from this leg, I have to change around some predictions. I do still think that Derek and Claire have a huge advantage going into the finale, no matter what place they start. I don't know. There's no direct link, but I feel like them being on Big Brother has already kind of like in some way, shape, or form trained them for just reality television in general. Not to mention that from what I've seen so far, they both have like a bunch of just weird traits that set them out throughout the entirety of the show, and I can't really see that when it comes to the other two couples. Another thing I've noticed that's different is the cast itself. You know what I mean? Again, I'm only really comparing it to season 1, but season 1 had a cast that was dynamic because it always had like caricatures of some kind. It was like the devious Team Guido. There was the brothers. There was multiple couples there that absolutely hated each other, but were still doing well in the race. You know what I mean? There were couples that liked each other, but did not last the race at all. And I'm not really feeling that here with this cast. It just felt like it was a bunch of people who were like quirky and, happy to be there, except for like maybe a few exceptions. This cast seemed like it was just more motivated by like a sad backstory or an inspiring backstory, as opposed to like them just being interesting on their own. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know if that's a reflection of seasons as of late, or if that's just this season. Just based off those memories I have of season 1, that season was a little more dynamic in terms of cast. Like, I don't like seeing people fight, don't get me wrong, but seeing struggles and then overcoming those struggles, to me, is a little more cathartic than just seeing people compete in a game show, because these just look like just people. It just finished the episode here. Not gonna be much to report on this one. I'm shocked Emily and Molly made it to the final 3, but I also can't blame David or Aubrey, especially David. I don't like swimming, period. So to do it in ice cold water, hell no. I applaud him for even getting in that water to begin with. You know what I'm saying? So the final 3 teams are going to be Derek and Claire, Lewis and Michelle, and Emily and Molly. As far as I'm concerned, they're the top 3 teams, period. They were the few teams that didn't really blow up on each other. Every other team had a moment where they were like not really sick of each other, but they were dramatic. So yeah, this is a stacked final 3. We'll see what happens. Episode 12, finale. All right, so it was Derek and Claire who had won. I figured. I mean, they had an advantage competing in Big Brother, which doesn't really give you like a technical advantage, but it gives you like an emotional advantage. because being on game shows like this, it's tiring emotionally, spiritually, and all that crap. But if they're used to it with Big Brother, then they're going to be used to it on The Amazing Race no matter what. Congratulations to Derek and Claire. They were my pick just because of Big Brother, but also just because like I knew for a fact that they both have a bunch of weird technical skills that don't matter, but for some reason it just worked out on The Amazing Race. You know, like he won because he was a musician they helped him like remember the keys earlier, whereas every other team was still kind of struggling. Emily and Molly came in second place, fucked up knee and all, which I'm happy about. You know, if it wasn't Derek and Claire, I would have preferred it to be them, personally speaking, but I'm glad they made it that far. You know what I mean? Second place. I like their story. I always will like their story. Just long lost twins, and they spent their 23 days on The Amazing Race and almost $1 million. Hell, that's a story to tell. I'll tell you what. Bruce and Michelle come in third place. You know, they had some momentum coming into it. They started off middle of the pack team. I didn't even remember who they were, and then they won like the last 3 or 4 freaking legs in a row. I mean, that's quite the momentum shift coming into it. It sucks they got third place, but I'm also happy that Emily and Molly did beat them. No offense to them. Nice couple. It's a shame they didn't win as well. You know what I mean? Like these last 3, they all, apart from like the stardom of Derek and Claire, like I liked Emily and Molly's story, and these guys wanted to start their family with that cash. I mean, hell, I can't help but sympathize. Also, I just noticed something. Like, I'm seeing like pretty much almost every single other team up here, even like the first place eliminees who I liked in the beginning. But I'm not seeing Will and Abby, I think their name is. It's the team that was like disqualified because they caught COVID. Like, hasn't 10 days passed at this point? Like, how come they're not, I don't know. It's a shame. Okay, so season 43 is done with. All in all, I enjoyed my time with it. There were some parts that just seemed a bit predictable as you were watching the episode. The thing about The Amazing Race is that any other time someone makes a mistake, you know it's going to cost them greatly. And every single time it did, unfortunately. I don't know if I'd make another video like this for season 44. Like, I found it difficult to even talk about some things, but I was able to finish through this season and I enjoyed it. Very different from season 1, 100%. I might go back like to later seasons just to see how things have changed, because Survivor now and Survivor then is very different. And same thing can be said about this just as much as any reality show for that matter. I enjoyed my time.